Hey, Guy, what's happening?
What up?
All right, dude. So, look, tomorrow, Amazon and Apple in the mix after a big day today for other big nights. By the way, as I say in the mix, and you mentioned Dr. J on
Right.
tonight's show. So, I'm thinking Steve Mix
Of course you are.
when I think that same team. And just because I hate the whole Philadelphia sports scene, that's right. I said that. I think fans in Philly are the meanest, classless folks around. That's right. I said that. So let's do a quick round robin of 77, 78, Sixers or Philadelphia athletes that stand out, because that was a pretty colorful time.
Well, Steve Mix, I mean,
It's a nice poll.
One of the great power forwards. Love Steve Mix. Of course, he had the great Bobby Jones, George McGinnis on that team. I think Dr. J was still there. I mean, we could throw some other guys out. But then on Phillies, I think Danny Ozark was your manager. You had Manny Trio, Mike Schmidt. I think Richie Hebner was on that team. Larry Boa was your shortstop.
Yeah, you're doing well. You're doing well.
Flyers, I'll give you Bobby Clark, Ed Van Imp, Dave Schultz, Bernie Perrant, just to throw some Flyers.
Moose DuPont. Yeah, you got a Moose DuPont in there. Yeah.
And I'll round it out with, because he might be one of my all-time favorite players, Bill Bergey as your middle linebacker.
Bill Bergey
on the Eagles.
You see, because you left me with, I think, some obvious choices, because I can't repeat at this point. So I got to go. I'll go in reverse order. I'll go on those Eagles teams. First of all, how about Jersey Joe Pisarcik? No. How about Jaws? How about Ron Jaworski? How about Harold Carmichael?
Sure. Giant killer.
Wilbert Montgomery.
Sure.
I mean, these guys weren't these the guys? And then we got a Herm Edwards too, right? I mean, I think Herm was patrolling back there, because I mean
Herm Edwards. He was. Remember, as you mentioned, Joe Pisarcik. Herm Edwards returned the Larry Zonka, Joe Pisarcik fumble.
Right.
Touchdown.
Right.
I remember that like it was yesterday.
Dude, those were some grim days, and it was awful that it happened against the Eagles. And then with those Phillies teams, I think that's an outfield I think I got Greg the Bull Luzinski patrolling left field. I think I got a Gary Maddox in center, and I think I got a Shake and Bake McBride in right field.
Or a Jay Johnstone, I think, was on that team.
You know what? You might have had Jay Johnstone. And I'll go back to the Flyers. I mean, I think who was between the pipes? Was that a Pelly Lindbergh? Bernie Perrant. Yeah, Pelly, that's a sad story, so I won't go there. How about Bill Barber? Did you say Barber?
The right wing, I think, on that team. Great goal scorer.
Yeah, that team alone made you hate Philadelphia. And then back to those Sixers teams. Let's not forget about Lloyd World Be Free. And obviously kind of sad topically these days, but the father of Kobe, Jelly Bean Joe Bryant. I mean, those guys were all part of that squad. So, and I think Chocolate Thunder himself, right?
Chocolate Thunder came a little late, but he came from, as you know, the planet Lovetron, and he lived on Intergalactic Funk. And we're going to see some Intergalactic Funk tomorrow post market close.
I was just going to say, right, we're on Planet Lovetron right now. I'm not sure what these two guys can do tomorrow to really live up to the run that they've had into earnings. I'll start with Apple. I just feel like we've talked about this. I'm an investor in Apple, and I do believe in the company long term. And I wouldn't overtrade this one, folks. If you're long Apple, I think you're riding through this. But this is a stock that at 320 in February 20, it was probably trading 22 times forward earnings, and it's never seen those numbers before. For what was certainly only until recently a hardware company that at times during kind of the worst of kind of 3 years ago, you were testing down like 9-10 times. So I just think that Apple also, if you think about Tim Cook and think about the moments that he's actually waved a flag of caution for markets when talking about emerging markets and China demand. We know that we got those numbers 3 weeks ago about iPhone shipments in China, and that actually spurred on a move into Apple and frankly semis and other parts of the tech chain. But how about getting back to just some sense of, yeah, I get that. We got good news out of the way, but what's reality here? And I don't think Apple's going to tell you a great reality, and they're doing it at not a very interesting valuation.
So you mentioned, so a couple things. So that 322 level or so where we topped out at, and I remember the weekend where they came out and said, things are going to be disappointing in China. And the next day, after making an all-time high, I think on that Friday, the stock opened down $5 or $6, which for Apple is meaningless.
Yeah.
And by Tuesday of that week, it was making a new all-time high. The market looked past everything based on a lot of different things, not least of which passive investing. Obviously, things caught up. And I'm sort of in your camp. Services, I get the services mix is getting into play, but, the mix seems to be slowing down, which is understandable. So the Goldman Sachs downgrade sort of continues to sort of roll around in my head. I think they have a $233 price target. I don't think it goes there tomorrow. No. But I don't think there's anything wrong. Again, don't confuse going short something with taking money off the table. So I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a little money off the table on Apple.
I think that's important. And I think you have to give credit to Goldman Sachs for sticking their neck out there during a time when the stock was flying. And obviously they got in the mix. And look, if you wanted to find yourself, and these are two more names we forgot, if you wanted to go on Amazon and find yourself a Henry Bibby or Doug Collins bobbleheads, I bet you could probably do it. And frankly, I kind of feel like that's what's going on with Amazon around here, man. It's kind of crazy land. And I know valuation never means anything, but Amazon too at times, and think about where they were going into the holiday season. They actually began some of the uncertainty around, kind of where this market was going when they warned on the first round of holiday sales. I know that they've been a beneficiary of what was already a very well-established trend. But I think Amazon's going to talk about spend. I think they're going to talk about those extra workers that they threw on and their desire to actually be aggressive during this moment where I'm hearing 100,000 retail stores are going to close on the back of COVID-19. Your call.
So I like where you went with Henry Bibby. Of course, his brother, Jim Bibby, if you recall.
Pitched for the Tribe, I believe.
I think he was with the Bucks as well. Of course, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I think we're both right. But nice pull.
Neither here nor there. And if you've watched this, The Last Dance, you'll notice that Doug Collins plays a very prominent role in the first couple.
Yeah, they paint him as a guy who really didn't think about the ballet that is a basketball game and involving all the different dancers, but we'll save that for another show too.
Put the ball in Michael's hand and see what happens. I won't use the vernacular, for this, but watch the series. In terms of Amazon, the stock is up now 50% since that 16 whatever low we made on March 23rd or thereabouts. 50% move. Think about that.
Crazy.
Making I think an all-time high. And one of the things I've said, and I'll stand by this, I thought the stock would rally into earnings, potentially make an all-time high. I said you pull the ripcord before they report after the bell tomorrow, and I think there's a very real chance, given everything that you just mentioned, that it trades back down to the previous all-time high, which we saw in February of 2170, and I'll stand by that. So maybe I'm getting too cute here. Maybe they're going to go to 2,800 and beyond, like a lot of the price targets are out there. But I'm hard-pressed to believe they're not going to mention the spend, and I think that's going to scare some people.
I'm not going to get too cute on this. I'm actually going to push back on you a little bit and say, while I think they can set you up for disappointment, you don't run too far away from this. And cute was probably how you showed up freshman year at Georgetown with some red and black unlaced Air Jordans walking into your freshman dorm, no?
The short answer is I was never cute, but I did have my Air Jordans on. And I'll let you know this. We had some company GOAT on yesterday or something. I guess you can buy and sell sneakers.
Yeah.
I have a pair of vintage Air Jordans that are in pristine condition that maybe I'll just put them out there on the GOAT and see what happens.
You could be retiring, man. That or get Amazon right tomorrow. So we'll see. I'll see you there.
Later on.